dancers are the only people that make the music we're dancing to at the same time we're making it. Amazing.
So we had a conversation before where you talked about building a community around improvisation, around tap dance. Can you tell me a little bit more about the community you've seen emerge?
It's a beautiful thing when, like, competition is a natural thing. So to be competitive is just a part of nature, but it doesn't have to be a negative competitive aspect. So I think the cypher, which is what we call every time tap dancers to get together, have a tap jam, have a whatever kind of interaction it wants to be, the cypher is built upon positivity in terms of, yeah, we compete, but we're competing against our own standard more than the standard of those people around us, but we still are taking the inspiration. So having young people who sometimes may be used to dealing with conflict in negative or violent ways find tap dance as a means and a method to then become conflict resolution, to teach them social, emotional learning skills. Then they become not only great tap dancers, but they become great people.
So Fabian, in the film you spoke about art as a refuge and murals as portals. Is making that refuge of yours available to others part of what drives you to create these large-scale public works?
Absolutely. I think this lesson or knowledge has been handed to us for a way back. It's something that I discovered, and I think it's important for me as someone who has been given that opportunity and that access to be able to find myself through the power of the arts, that I take it upon as a responsibility. And my responsibility has been to help remove all stereotypes that have been placed upon the image of the gang member by utilizing the common themes of identity, culture, religion, and gender. And in that, the birth of the Art Academy was that refuge that I create so that these young men and women can have a place where they too can come discover their gifts, but most importantly, return to themselves. And I think that is the power of the arts, and that is the refuge that ignited from my own personal discoveries and my own transformation.
So you've spoken now a few times about the transformative power of art. And I want to know what transformations you hope will come from the work you're doing, from the work that your students are doing in your life and their lives and in the wider world.
You know, I think, something that I've learned is that if we are present and we can give of ourselves and help one person at a time, then we can create a ripple effect that is going to help change and shift the world that we currently live in. But I think the transformation that I would like to see should not only fall on the hands of the young adults that I work with, but should also fall on the world that we currently live in. We got to continue to invite folks and challenge the notion that that we don't belong, in a sense, behind of our past mistakes, but also challenge them to be able to shift policy so that they can help us create that access that is greatly needed for sustainability and longevity that can actually create the ripple effect that can make this world a safer place. So that is the transformation that I want to see, not only as individuals, but also as a world, to be able to embrace us as for who we are and help us make the world a safer place for sustainability, longevity, for new generations to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just love his suit. How is everybody?
Okay, so I have 1,000 questions to ask you, but I'm going to do the one that we talked about before. You name-checked a lot of really incredible musicians in that film, people that you looked up to, who inspired you. Among them were a number of really famous and incredible women musicians from the 20th century, and some who are still with us today. And I wanted to ask you, because we know that those women had a hard time being recognized as musicians, and especially as instrumentalists, do you feel, as someone who's faced the same uphill climb, a sense of community and lineage with other women musicians in the same way that we've been talking about community and lineage the rest of the night?
Yes, I do. And there's a camaraderie that I feel with a lot of the female musicians I've met. Some of them have made the big time, and some of them haven't made the big time, but there's no difference to how much talent they have and how much they inspire me and support me. And there's a lot of females that support each other, because we grew up in a time where it was all male musicians. And so we had to kind of like be better so that we could get respect in the industry. So I remember when I was in my first band, a boy here or there would say, "Wow, you're pretty good for a girl." And I just kind of thought, he doesn't know any better because he just hasn't seen any women play guitar. So it's been really cool to work with other musicians like Cindy Cash-Sellers, Sarah Brown, Kathy Valentine from the Go-Go's. There's just, Ruby James. There's so many really cool musicians that I can write with and create music with. And I've had so many all-girl bands, but I play with guys now because I love that too. But I'm still, in kind of a girls' club with all the females, trying to hold ourselves up and try and get respect from the other male musicians. And I think we're doing pretty good about that, don't you?
So real quick here in our last seconds, you told me that you teach guitar lessons to other women for free as part of this girls' club, as part of lifting each other up. Can you tell me what that mentorship experience has been like for you and for your students?
Well, I think we need more women playing guitar. I think we could use a bunch more women. And so when I meet somebody that says, "Wow, I'd love to learn guitar from you," then I say, "Come over to the house, I'm not going to charge you." And they kind of go, "What?" They're not used to that. And it's not that I have a thing against men, and I won't, because I've taught them, like I'll teach my nephews for free. I don't care about the money when it comes to teaching guitar. You know why? Nobody charged me. And I learned from my friends and my cousins and my neighbors and high school people. And so I don't really look at it as something I should make money from. I get more joy out of seeing somebody pick it up and do something with it. And it's very gratifying to me. It's up there with producing somebody's record. And because I produced Wanda Jackson's record, and it was my record, but she sang on it. Yeah, let's hear it for Wanda Jackson. She was an NEA winner. And Janice Martin, I produced her last record too. So it's just gratifying to work with women that you can teach each other things, Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So excited to talk to a fellow fiddle player. Mr. Gilbert, one of the things you and I have talked about is the healing power of music, and I wonder how you've seen that play out in your own music-making journey.
Yeah. Okay, the music is a very important people for anyone. Like, you could see the village where I live, and we've been there thousands of years, and so we get together sometime, and some people have health problems, or either some people can't walk, and a lot of people have problem with sickness. That's a nationwide problem. But sometimes they don't get to the place where's the gathering at. and then some of them blind, and when I start playing, people want me to play to have a fun. And we just found out it's helping a lot of people have problems. Sometimes there's power, healing power. And I've been watching the video. One place is all the elder gathering. They come together, and there's a lot of them use crutches. And then one old man came in, and he just barely walked. And then the fiddle players over there, he started playing, and he just put his crutches away. And then he get on the floor and he told people to dance square dance. So when he was there and he just, I thought he won't make it. I don't think he's gonna dance. But then he just put crutches away. He get up and he start calling square dance. So he danced about, I don't know, about 30 minutes, more than probably an hour. He was dancing around. So that healing power is among the people. And I know my mother was blind, and my father, he's a square dance caller. So that's where I'm interested to play fiddle. So I self-taught. And then my mother was blind, and sometimes winter time, short daylight. I know my mom and dad come in, and then they pretty soon when the Red River Street, I started playing. And my mother was blind, but she was on the floor. And she danced with my father. Sometimes we start late evening, around 8 or 9, and then a lot of times I've been watching my mom and dad going home 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's, people really love to dance, and you know, some people kind of have a problem that they never get involved with anything, just stay home and a problem. And then sometimes, when I got response from the people, when I played everywhere, I've been invited playing different community in different places. And then sometimes people never showed up in the dance before, and then they come in and you start joining a group. So even though people are having a problem with alcohol and alcoholic people, sometimes we teach them, they taught themselves playing fiddle, and then they quit drinking so that they can recover from the alcohol. And also that some people have different kind of problem, but they've been healed.
So, Todd, one of the things that's so interesting, there's a lot that's interesting about this. This was the video I texted my mom right away. I was like, did you know this is a job? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
We get paid to go around in circles, isn't it?
I feel like that sometimes, but it doesn't look as good. One of the things that's really fascinating about the work that you've shared with us is that you work on every part of the carousel, right? You're not just picking one specific system or component. You're working on the mechanics, you're working on the carvings, you're working on the painting, every piece. What feels important to you about doing it all?
Well, doing it all is because it's, you know, to me, carousels are a living, dynamic piece that people get to interact with. You know, you get to climb on the carousel, and if it doesn't go around, then it's just a piece of wood carved fancy. So we like to fancy all that up, but also all those gears and pieces and parts that we like to build all that stuff. We learn from restoration on how to build the new stuff, how to take care of it. Like I said in the video, there was no books written on this stuff, so we had to figure it out, and still continue to.
So you're reverse engineering.
We are doing
how to build all these parts.
To do that, to build our new carousels and make our designs and things like that, and the restoration.
Now, you're passing this craft down in your family, and I wonder what it feels like to know that you're bringing your son into such a unique profession.
Well, yeah, it certainly has come full circle. To learn a trade like this and be able to be fortunate enough to learn it myself, and then to be able to pass it down to anybody, I was happy for. But then in the last few years, my son has come in, and I'm very proud to be able to pass it down to him, and hopefully it'll go farther than that.
Oh, I think it will. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Susan Hudson Kiani Destiny Bashin Tabahat Ashachain Kaita nationally. I'm going to speak to you guys all in a foreign language right now. It's English. I want to do a land acknowledgement. I want to honor the ancestral indigenous peoples whose lands we walk upon here, that came here and with their creation story. So thank you.
Susan, you've explained to me that quilting was something that was forced on your community during the horrific boarding school era. You've made this craft your own, though, despite some resistance to your way of doing things. You've chosen to forge ahead. As you put it to me, you're forcing a change. What is the change?
The change is, first of all, I was born a woman. I was born a Dene. And I took the stories that my ancestor, well, actually my grandmothers and everybody talked about, the atrocities that they suffered in the boarding schools. I took that and I took that to another level. I wanted to honor them. I wanted to tell their stories. I wanted them to know I cared about them. I want my descendants to know that I cared enough to keep the story going. So 200 years from now, when my quilts are still here and I'm no longer here, they can go to the museums or to wherever the collectors have donated them and see the quilts and know the story. We have to tell our stories. We have to take back our lives because of the genocide and because of us going to school and some white person telling us our stories. I'm going in class and some white person is telling me, this is your history and this is the way it is. That's not right. So I'm going to take it back and I really don't care. When I have my quilts, I have various people come up to me, whether through their ignorance, lack of knowledge, or just plain stupidity. They want to take me on and ask me, what is your story on the quilt? And I will tell them the story on the quilt. And they go, no, this is what I think. And I go, I don't care what you think, because you're not going to disregard or, disrespect my ancestors. And especially, you're not going to disrespect my mother that went and had those atrocities, the horrible things that happened to her, and all the children that went to the boarding schools. I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak for us, and I don't care what you guys say. You guys, this is our story. This is our land, and I'm going to do it because these young girls, these young boys, they need to know our stories and our struggles. And not only for us, for other indigenous people around the world. So I'm still here. I'm still going to make the quilts, and I know what I'm doing next year, and people aren't going to like it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Susan Hudson. June, we've been spending a lot of time talking about music and community tonight, and we've seen through your film how music can reaffirm our ties to communities that might not even be physically present with us. One small community that greatly impacted your music making is your band. How did Hiroshima shape your sound and artistic practice?
Hiroshima was very important in shaping me. What I learned was that, number one, if you really want to be involved in a group or to really create something different, you have to empty yourself. Otherwise, there's nothing to fill. And it didn't come that easy. It was blood, sweat, and tears, and many trials that I one day did let go of my ego and empty it, and then I was more open and receptive. So I learned to jam, learned to improvise, all these things that classical music did not teach you. So that was the beginning. But also at the same time, having a group Hiroshima with the names such as Hiroshima, that we've had a sense of responsibility to represent our community in many ways. And one of them was we also wanted to break the stereotypic image that we had, especially back in the 70s.
You've spoken about how you felt you did not have a path to follow as a musician, as someone who was trying to break those stereotypes. And I'm wondering what impact you hope that your work, Hiroshima's work, might have for future generations who now might have a path to follow.
It's been very difficult, especially in the Japanese American community, because during the World War II, the Japanese Americans were incarcerated in concentration camps here in America, and they were Americans. And so, but then they were placed in a concentration camp. So it created a lot of conflict within our people and a dilemma of, do we be nice to come or do we fight? But we have families here. And so what happens with that is it affects the generations after that, they wanted to do more Western things because all the culture things were taken away. And many kotos, especially kotos, were buried. So to get the young folks to be involved, it's been a struggle, and that's why to have a group like Hiroshima was important, to make it more contemporary, hoping to get the children excited.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
He is preserving the art and the culture that was lost. You can't get it from anywhere else. He's someone that I look up to.
We really try to absorb the knowledge that he gives to us. He is the expert, the one that knows all of it.
He's a pillar to the community.
I'm born in Cambodia, but actually I've been in the United States longer. I see all the new generation I want to remind them how beautiful the country before everything. During the genocide, they killed more than 2 million people. I decided to escape from my country, the United States, as a refugee. That's the reason I get here. So when I first come to United States in 1979, they have a dance group here, they do the opera. Somehow one of them cannot dance last minute, and they asked me to fill in. After that, the prince in Cambodia, she come to tour in US. She needs Apsara crown. We decided go ahead, try to make her one. She tried 3 crowns on, and she liked mine the most. The prince one way your stuff, of course you're very happy. So I started making a lot of costumes and crowns. This costume make about 30 some years ago. So sometimes the gold might fade away a little bit. So we want to touch up, make sure they look good. I'm a workaholic. I like to keep myself busy. For the past 45 years, 50 years, I make more than 1,000 crowns. I make jewelry for the dancer too. I also make the outfit for the dance. The costume very important. You go back time. When I make a costume, I'll be picture in my mind how the crowd will look good, how the costume will look good in the dancer. A good dancer needs a beautiful costume. Both go together.
So you let me know, okay? I was born in a Thailand refugee camp. So to me, I feel like my identity is displaced. Learning dancing, learning the craft with the Guru Sachita, it really helps me identify that I'm really Cambodian, I'm here, and these are my roots.
Now that I'm dancing, I feel more connected to my culture. I feel like I'm really myself, I'm in my element. I don't want the culture to be lost. As we come together as a community and work together, we can try to revive it.
Generations to come, we're gonna have to be able to take that with us and just learn it and pass it on.
In Cambodia, we lost a lot of stuff. All the culture, all the art, all the house, all the clothes. My students that I teach, I want to help them to make sure they do the right way. In the Persian camp in Cambodia, I meet a foreigner dancer. We thinking we go die soon, so we daydream. Say, if you get out, what the first thing you want to do? And I told her, first thing I do, I want to have a good food and decent clothes to wear. Next day, she asked me, how about we make a promise to each other? If I can get out, I go eat for you, dress for you. If you survive, can you dance for me? I say, okay, I will dance for you. For the person who passed away, I will go feel the voice for them. Keep the dance going. Because it not belong to me. It belong to Cambodia, it belong to the country, it belong to the art.
Thank you. In the film, you spoke about using your craft to help fill the void left by those who died in the genocide. This is healing work, and I want to know how you see that healing going for survivors of the genocide like yourself and for the next generation who are growing up in the aftermath.
I'm very happy that things going well now, because right now more young generation student, more dancers, they want to learn dance, and more dance group pop up. So at this point I'm very happy. Only one thing is because a lot of dance group, they have the money to buy all the costume, but they learn it from YouTube dancing. So they learn it, but they can do it, but they're missing a lot. Because mostly do the costume for each dancer, it takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour to show the dancer. And a lot of the people, they buy the costume from Cambodia, they don't know how to put it the right way. So I would like to make a program, ABC program. So most of the dance group here, they can do from A to C, but they forgot about B. So the B is very important. That's why I think my next project, I want to do that. Go back to the beginning when I first came to the United States, I traveled different states to teaching dance. So I want to do again because right now a lot of new dance group here, and they have money, they have costume, they have dancer, so more easier to helping them to collect with. That's my dream. Next one.
Thank you so much. Going to ask everybody to introduce themselves. I feel malicious handing you something right now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lanisha Dishta.
Good evening, my name is Lachey Harris. Good evening, my name is Courtney Babilu.
Good evening, my name is Joy Dakai.
Hi, everyone, and that film always makes me emotional, so I had to cry. So my name is Juanita Idakai, and I'm very happy to be here tonight with all of you. Thank you.
Good evening, Koton Sunak Genakya. My name is Loretta Biuka.
Keshi Hobriana Yamati Walashina.
Koton Sunak Genakya. Good evening, my name is Corliss Idakai Babalu.
Good evening, my name is Kimberly Diwa.
Good evening, my name is Ashley Yamatiwa.
Extra credit. So when I met you all last night, you placed great emphasis on the role women play as the linchpins of your community. Of course, we see a strong female lineage at work here in this very group, the only all-female Pueblo performing group. And I wonder how you think it affects people to see you all throwing down on stages where men are typically in the spotlight and women are too often sidelined.
I believe we've been successful in our performing dance group because of our family ties and our kinship. We are all always on the road together, traveling together, and what grounds us is the cultural traditions and the beliefs that we all share together as a group. We also embrace the knowledge that we have from our ancestors, and I think that as strong women, we can hold down in front of men. And we've proven that because we're here tonight receiving a prestigious award. The one thing I do want to say is that we would not all be here unless
unless we were well educated about everything in the world and also about our home and the life that we live as women together. We need to also continue to share our culture and our tradition with people that are not knowledgeable about Native American. We've had so many questions about where are you from? And when we say we're from New Mexico, we always get, and they'll start speaking to us in Spanish, and we have to tell them, no habla español. So that's one of our goals, is to share our knowledge, our culture, and our traditions, so that people in our United States and throughout the world will learn about our community and also know that we're very unique, very special, and that we have strong women that are out there doing things, being successful, while also having families. Thank you.
I think that we made an impact within our community with the fact that we are an all-female performing arts group. And we strive to be strong, independent women. And there is the fact that we...
Hello, Pocahontas, Arkansas. Look what we have done. We are in Washington, D.C. at the Endowment for the Arts. And we have done this through the community. So put your arms up.
Okay, I love the hometown shout out. Can you tell us a little bit about Pocahontas?
Yes, I'd love to. Pocahontas is a small town, but we do big things. We have a lot of community activities, and we are a community that you don't have to lock up everything. Probably should. But we don't. We have neighbors that are around, and they keep up with what's going on at your places. It is also a town where we can go to church without fear. We also have children, our families, we raise our children, and our kids can run up and down the roads and the sidewalks. So it is a town that is very friendly. And we have, I want to tell you some of the things that we have. It's like we have a community college there that has brought in many activities and many classes to help our young people in the community. So it's a town that you could feel very comfortable in if you wanted to be in a small town.
Gotcha. Well, we talked about this earlier, but my late grandmother, Doris May, taught kindergarten in a segregated church school, just like the one Miss Eddie May taught in. So I know a little bit about what it's like to try and step into shoes that big. And I see what you're doing, trying to honor Miss Eddie May's legacy there, and help pay it forward by educating your community the way that you do, morning, noon, and night. And I want to know, what is so important to you about sharing that history? What drives you to do that?
What drives me to do it is to keep it going. I want the next generation to continue to tell about the history. I attended that school, the one-room class, one-room school, and during the time that I attended school, the laws were different. It was a segregated school. And there were people in the community that did not even know that we were there segregated at that school. So that was the time I thought, that history needs to be taught. It wasn't talked about, didn't mean that it was bad, but it just wasn't talked about. And so after the schools integrated, which was in 1965, and that hasn't been very long. Then the building was empty for a short time. It became an educational place again with a daycare center, the first Head Start Center. That was where they taught the underprivileged children. That's happened about 10 years, and then they left. And so the building was left just decreasing. And so I felt like we were going to lose our history if we did not try to preserve that building.
Stepped up.
And we stepped up.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Thanks for the community. The community helped me to step up. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.